Okay, so once we have the flywheel and everything off, and so this is what our engine is basically looking like. We're stripped down to uh, the basically just the heads and everything. Everything is stripped off. We're going to take the valve cover gasket off of here, and again, that is a number 10, 10 millimeter socket. The 10 millimeter socket, and let me put my 9 millimeter away. And again, we want to look at our work as look at it as a clock. Remember, clock on, counter off. So if I'm looking at this as a clock, I want my wrench to go against the clock, Okay, clockwise, 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 against a clock. All right, and so I want my wrench to go against the clock. I want my wrench to go against the clock. And again, I'm going to take my nut driver, make things much easier, quicker for me. And again, if you make your nut driver with your extension and your socket, it will save you large amounts of time. Not that I'm in any real big hurry in taking a lot of this stuff apart. Okay, now we're going to take the screwdriver. This is put on here with a seal, and so very carefully we're going to pry this. And this tab is here to keep your pin that holds your camshaft from turning on you. And so we're going to come up in here and we're going to pry very gently and get the screwdriver up inside here. And we're just going to work it loose. It's going to bend a little bit, but you don't want it to bend too much. And just work it gently and it'll just pop right off. It'll just pop right off. And now we see the brains of our engine. The brains of our engine. Okay. And here we have the rocker arms, we have our camshaft, and everything that we need to make our engine run on time. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to turn our pistons until the two timing marks come around. And once I pull this out, I'll show you where they're at. It makes it much easier to split. There they are. There's two little timing marks right here. And you'll be able to see those once you get into the shop. And then I've got a pair of slip joint pliers, but you can use your long nose pliers to grab your post here, turn it about halfway, and this pin will slip out. Your timing belt will slide off. And then this is your camshaft. Okay, this is your camshaft. And now that comes out. Okay. Now we're ready to split the casing. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take all of these springs and everything off, put them with my ignition switch, and get them out of the way back here. Okay. I have this flipped upside down, so I'll flip it up this way. Okay. You've got 4 bolts here, and you've got 2 bolts here, 2 bolts here, for a total of 6 bolts. And Thought there was a short extension, maybe not. I'm going to cheat and go back here to my handy dandy box and grab my short extension because I don't like really using the long extension. And you want to make sure it's important that you set those timing marks the way that I showed you because it makes it much more easier to take your engine, to split your engine, than if you don't. You see the advantages of a net driver and how much quicker. Even though these are new engines and they haven't been run, there's still a little bit of oil in them. And so you want to be aware of that when you start to split your engine. And I'll show you about that. I'll show you how to take care of that here in just a minute. You want to make sure that you have all of the bolts out. When you go to split it, because obviously it will not come apart if you have left any of the bolts inside. Oh, I didn't get that one loose. That is the control lever for your governor. We will readjust that. Not a big deal. Just need to free up the spot so I can get this last bolt. The nice thing about these short extensions is it gives you a little groove right there. And you can also use, if you have a short extension, it makes it much nicer. It works very well for a speed wrench also, because if your fingers are oily, it makes a very nice place to grab for a speed wrench. You will see on the side, there are a couple of ears. There's an ear here, and there's an ear here. Those ears are what we're going to use to split our engine with when we split our engine. And so that's the tabs where you're going to set your screwdriver into those tabs and twist. Okay. And once you do that, if you lined up your timing marks like you were supposed to, your engine should come right up off should come just right up off the top. If you are struggling and your engine is not separating, you probably did not line up your timing marks the way that you were supposed to. Right? And yes, there's going to be oil, even though these are brand new engines, and I'm grabbing rags here as we speak. Even though these are brand new engines, and um, we haven't ran them, there's still going to be a little bit of oil in them. That's why I say set them down, be ready with some rags and some things like that. Okay. Let me move some stuff out of the way here. Move some of my high-tech tools out of the way. Inside here, this is our governor. This is our governor that helps slow down the speed of the engine as it's running. And this is where we're going to adjust how our governor runs. Okay, and we'll talk about that. Okay. You can see I'm a little bit of a neatness freak when it comes to oil and things like that. I don't like getting my tools all oily and nasty. Okay, so now we're going to start taking everything here apart. We're going to take our timing belt, set it over here out of the way. We're done with it. Okay. We can take our rocker arms apart. There's a pin right here that just pushes out, slides, slides off, pushes down, slides down, slides off. There, our rocker arms and pins are out of the way. So we will move them over here and out of the way. Okay. Now we're going to take the piston. We're going to take the rocker, the piston, and this is our splash guard. This little thing right here is our splash guard. That is what splashes the oil up on top of the piston and all the other, in the crankshaft and the flywheel. Okay. You will notice that on your flywheel right here, and this is all mentioned inside your Honda Tech online stuff. There's a timing mark that is here on this camshaft here, and it matches up with your counterweights that are on your crankshaft here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove Okay, now your hands are starting to get a little bit oily. Okay. And so now when it's a good time, and I'll have plenty of rags for us to use and for us to hold on to. And so we're going to remove the rod cap. And the rod cap again has the splash, the splash guard, the oiler splasher on there. Okay. Okay. We'll set that off to the side. And then we'll push our piston back up inside the piston hole. Let me rotate this around so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Push the piston back inside the piston hole. We're going to rotate this around so the counterweights are out of the way, and then we're going to pull. I'm going to take this nut off the other side here. Okay. we're going to pull the whole crankshaft out. And then we're going to grab the piston. Yeah, because I want the rods. We're going to grab the piston and slowly, gently. Okay, and it's a good thing to remember the orientation of the piston. Okay, but we'll talk about that. And there's a way to make sure that we have it going back in. We're going to pull it out and look at everything and make sure that everything's good on there. Do not mess with the rings. We're not gonna tinker with the rings. We don't have time to do that in this class. All right, we're almost done. We're almost done with the complete teardown. We're going to come up here. These are your retainer caps right here. Very simple. All right. You want to be careful not to let these go. But there's a notch inside there, and you just push down, and your hands are going to be oily, so you want to be careful when you do this. Push down and slide up. Okay? And then you take the ring and the retainer off. Again, it's just a matter of push down, slide back, and off. Right? And you will see that one side of that retainer, the inside is a little bit smaller. So you push down, slide it, and let that valve stem slide up. You're going to let that valve stem slide up and in. Okay? Push down, slide forward, and out. And that's all it is. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we've completely tore down our Honda engines. Okay? And we have everything tore down. We have all the parts out, and so now the next thing we're going to start in on is the rebuild. Okay? So now we will start in on the rebuild.